The Artificial Intelligence Chatbot on Stephen Sondheim. What are 7 reasons Stephen Sondheim was a great composer-lyricist? Give one example for each. The answers are beautifully written, insightful, and spot on. Okay, Sondheim's lyrics are known for their wit, intelligence, and emotional depth, and he gives the example of another 100 people from company, wordplay, fast-paced delivery. Sondheim's music is incredibly varied, incorporating elements of jazz, pop, and classical music. That's true, the example of Send in the Clowns. Complex, intricate melodies, with the example of Ladies Who Lunch from Company. And unexpected or unconventional structures, great example of what makes him special. Nonlinear narratives and irregular time signatures. Number 5, use of literary and cultural references. Now, I don't know these references from being alive, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're there. Complex themes and issues, giving the example of Into the Woods, the framework of fairy tales, and finally, his influence on Broadway. Okay, some haikus about West Side Story. 2 rival gangs fight, lovers caught in the crossfire, tragedy unfolds. 5 syllables. West Side Story's tale of young love torn apart by hate, heartbreak on the streets. Sharing one city space, 2 young lovers Romeo, but different worlds apart. Don't love that one. In the streets of New York, passionate love, fierce rivalries, West Side Story lives. Love it. Okay, write a rhyming poem about Sweeney Todd. Some of these rhymes aren't bad. For example, right here. He'd shave his customers, then send them down below to Mrs. Lovett's pie shop, where they'd never go. In the end, he met his fate, a just but grim end. Sweeney Todd, the demon barber, will not defend. His story lives on, a tale of woe and dread, a cautionary tale of vengeance left unsaid. Compare and contrast Andrew Lloyd Webber and Stephen Sondheim. Okay, the prose is clear and handles all of the major points of comparison between Lloyd Webber and Sondheim. For example, the types of music, grand sweeping melodies versus more varied and eclectic musical styles. The complexity and structure of their music, comparing it to the unconventional structures such as irregular time signatures or nonlinear narratives in Sondheim. In terms of lyrics, now this is a little wrong because Lloyd Webber didn't write his own lyrics, but there's a comparison in lyrics. And finally, a conclusion. An important question: how did Oscar Hammerstein influence Stephen Sondheim? The chatbot covers all the main points about how Sondheim was influenced by Oscar Hammerstein, what Hammerstein was known for. Sondheim began working with him, so there is a bit of the historical relationship. And in addition to technical skills, he learned the importance of integrating music and lyrics seamlessly. This is true. This is one of the most important things that he did, and creating songs that move the story forward. Exactly. That's something that Sondheim learned from Hammerstein. Join our free weekly Broadway appreciation classes at thebroadwaymaven.com. All right, summarize the theme of 4 Sondheim musicals. The text here is completely original. If you Google it, you won't find it written anywhere. Here it talks about Into the Woods and the people grappling with the consequences of their actions. Company is about the search of connection in modern society. Sunday in the Park of George, the theme of art and the creative process. And Follies explores the theme of aging and the passage of time. That's all correct. And the other details in here are insightful as well. Please like and subscribe. Discuss Sondheim's Jewish identity. This isn't often written about. Stephen Sondheim is an American composer and lyricist who was born to a non-Jewish mother. That's not true. He strongly identified with the Jewish community and its traditions, quoting him. He also said his Jewish identity shaped his worldview and his approach to his work, and he encountered anti-Semitism. I don't know which of these things are true because his mother was definitely Jewish. Okay, in which songs in Company do Bobby's friends encourage him to get married? Okay, here I don't agree with everything in here. I think some of the lyrics are actually not lyrics. But the little things you do together, that's right. That's one of the ways that they encourage him to get married. Sorry, grateful. Also, when they say that they're grateful, they're trying to encourage that. I'm not sure that this is all the correct lyrics, and certainly in Being Alive, that's not right. And Being Alive is less about his friends and more about himself. But still, pretty well written. Discuss the characteristics of Roman comedies with reference to Stephen Sondheim's A Funny Thing Happened on the way to the forum. And here the chatbot makes all the main points in this tricky essay question. It talks about how it's based on the works of Plautus and that the themes involve satire and parody, giving examples, and the stock characters. So it mentions the character of Pseudolus and the character of Hysterium and how those are stock characters. The physical humor, that's a big deal in Funny Thing Happened. The fast-paced action, that's true too in both Roman comedies and in Sondheim's show. Overall, it did a very good job of summarizing the relationship between those two works. Note I didn't mention Into the Woods in this question. How is the story of the baker and his wife structured like a traditional fairy tale? And the chatbot immediately figures out that I'm talking about Into the Woods. And it gives several ways, such as the clear beginning, middle, and end. Second, it talks about the magical spells, talking animals, supernatural characters. Good. Third, traditional fairy tale imagery and language like Happily Ever After and Once Upon a Time. So that's a great example of how much the chatbot can answer about Sondheim. Join our free weekly Broadway appreciation classes at thebroadwaymaven.com. And here's a link to my Stephen Sondheim playlist.